And welcome back to Washington Commanders Insider. Today, we're going to be talking about the Washington Commanders and their all-pro selections and how these all-pros are going to really play a big factor in this game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And so let's start with the Washington Commanders winning some more awards. And so we have four Commanders that made the all-pro team. They're all second-team selections. This is the first time since 1991 that this Washington franchise has had four players be selected all-pro. You have Bobby Wagner, Frankie Luvu, Terry McLaurin, and Austin Ekeler. And so for Terry McLaurin, Austin Ekeler, and Frankie Luvu, this is the first time that they have made the all-pro team. And for Bobby Wagner, this is his 11th season. So congratulations to him as he continues to pile up the all-pro selections. Definitely going to be, I think, a first ballot Hall of Famer. And so, look, talking about these all-pros and really the impact that they're going to have. I know we've been talking about the offenses and things like that, but really wanted to talk a little bit more about the Washington Commanders defense. And starting with Bobby Wagner and Frankie Luvu, I think that they are going to be huge for the Washington Commanders if they're going to win this game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, because the Tampa Bay Bucs are coming in. They have a top 5 offense in passing and a top 5 in defense, in running the football as well. So top 5 in offense as far as passing, top 5 as far as running. And so I think that Bobby Wagner and this team, they're going to have to try to find a way to really slow down something from the Buccaneers or take away something and really make this team off balance. And so starting with the run game. And so with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they like to run a lot of schemes to where, like for instance, if they're running like an inside zone concept, they generally like to send a player opposite of the play that or the direction that they're going in motion. So a wide receiver going in motion. So picture that they're running left. They'll send a wide receiver going right. And then what they try to do is they try to really get you in a situation where they get your defense over pursuing, and then they try to find a cutback lane that way. Or they might catch you undisciplined if you're, doing a stunt or something like that. And then that opens up a bigger hole. Next thing you know, their offensive linemen are able to get to the second level, and then that creates even more space for their running game. And so that suggests that Bobby Wagner, Frankie Luvu, they're going to have to make sure that they are there in those running lanes in order to go ahead and make sure that the Buccaneers, Bucky Irvin, is not able to get loose and really, get down the field for huge plays. And so I think that is key. Number one is being disciplined in your running lanes and making sure that you don't over pursue and you're there at the point of contact. Like you're right there at the point of the action before things get started, because we know that Bucky Irvin leads the NFL with yards after contact. In fact, he's a full yard ahead of Derrick Henry. And so that's just how good he has been. This is the first time that they've had a 1,000-yard rusher since 2015, and Doug Martin did it. And so we know that the Buccaneers are going to try to rely on this. And so that means the Commanders, as they're doing their stunts and things like that, you cannot over pursue. We're going to need Frankie Luvu and these guys to fill, and they're also going to need to tackle well if they do get into the second level, or we need them to create some negative plays. And don't get me wrong, it's not just going to be Bobby Wagner and our linebackers, but we are going to need this from a group effort, right, to stop the run. And so we know that the Washington Commanders are definitely capable of doing so. When we look back at what they were able to do in week 16 and week 17 between Bijan Robinson and Saquon Barkley, they had 20 carries combined for 35 yards in the second half. It's just putting that second half into a full game of football. So we need a full first half and a second half with that performance. And I think that is something that we're definitely going to need our quarterback to really help us with on the defensive end at Bobby Wagner. And so next up, I think that Bobby Wagner, Frankie Luvu, and our linebackers are going to be huge for us as far as really helping us in the pass game as well. And I think that we definitely get a boost with Marshawn Lattimore. Like, there's no doubt about it. With Marshawn Lattimore, I think that our defense now we have some more confidence to call some blitzes. And what we can do now is we can play a little bit more one-on-one coverage and give our defense a chance to get there, because currently the Commanders have 43 sacks on the season, which is tied for 11th. That is very good. Like, we're very good as far as getting home to the quarterback. And I think that when you add Marshawn Lattimore back there with Mikey Sanders still, that defense is very tough to really pass on. And in fact, I think at the time of this recording, looking at the rankings going into this, the Commanders had the third best pass defense as far as yards given up. And so we're very good now as far as just keeping things in front of us. We're not necessarily giving up those chunk plays like we did in week 1, which is why you continue to hear that the Washington Commanders are a totally different football team from week 1. I mean, so are the Buccaneers, but the Commanders' defense, as far as the secondary is concerned, has gotten a lot better. And so shifting back to why, our linebackers are going to be important, when we run some of these zone schemes and we're trying to take away some of this underneath stuff that, ultimately that's what the Buccaneers are going to want to do, because that they're going to try to get Cade Otton going. We know that they're going to try to get Jalen McMillan going as well. Like, these are players that are going to probably working the secondary, and we need to make sure that we take care of that. They also have Durham. He's going to be out there at the tight end position, maybe trying to occupy the middle of the field. And so this is where Bobby Wagner, Dante Fowler, and all these guys are going to have to be able to really play those zones, play them well, make it tough passing lanes, and really kind of squeeze down a little bit more on this Buccaneers passing game and make it shrink a bit. Because I think that if you slow down the running attack of the Buccaneers and you put a lot more pressure on Baker Mayfield, as good as he's been this season with the 41 touchdowns and the completion rate at 71% or 71.4%, he's also thrown 16 interceptions. And so a lot of these interceptions is where, Baker Mayfield is really having to put the Buccaneers on his back, because he feels that he's got to score the points. And, the statistics show that defensively the Buccaneers have struggled. And so if the Commanders are able to just make a stand at some point and maybe get this team to kick a field goal or two, and then our offense is able to get off to a good start, that is probably going to be enough, I think, to win this football game on the road in Tampa Bay. Because our offense then, if they get off to a good start, Jaden Daniels and everything, and we're able to do what we need to do, we're able to dominate the time of possession here. And I think that if the defense does its job, which I'm pretty sure that they are going to definitely do in this one, I think that now you're looking at a team that, they're just going to be playing catch up. And you don't want to be in a situation where you haven't had really a lot of success passing the football. That means that you're going to have to run the football, and you're not going to necessarily have the time to catch up to a team. And then if you have to, you're able to now pass with some success, but the pressure is there, then that means that that's going to put some added stuff onto Baker Mayfield, and we might be able to force him into a mistake. And so I think forcing these turnovers is going to be critical. It starts with our all pros out there. And so anyway, let me know in the comments what you think about this recent news with our 4 all pro selections. Do you think that, yes, Bobby Wagner, Frankie Luvu, they're going to be huge for us defensively as far as coming up, plugging up the run, and then also too, being an additional help in coverage as well against a very good offense. And so I'd love to hear your thoughts. And we are just one day away from seeing the Washington Commanders versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Super excited for that. Make sure that you press that like and subscribe. And as we always say, go Commanders, and I will see you on the next one. Peace, 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 peace.